All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with our webinar today. Glad all of you could make that. I see, a good handful of people we've met before, and it looks like we've got a bunch of new attendees that we haven't met. So we're excited to introduce ourselves and hopefully create a long-standing relationship with all of you. So really quickly, I just wanted to go over what our webinar will look like today. We'll do some quick introductions. After those introductions, we will have Libby Waite discuss an overview of our learning management system. And then we'll turn the time over to Scott. He will do a demo for about 20 minutes, and he'll actually go in the software and discuss hands-on what our learning management system looks like. All right, so really quickly, introductions. I'm Ryan Brewer. I am the executive director here at the Idaho Entrepreneur Center. Libby Waite is our marketing manager, and Scott Allred is our COO and director of product development. So he works a lot with creating these programs. So really quickly, who is the Idaho Entrepreneur Center? We're a nonprofit located in southeast Idaho, and our focus is supporting small businesses and entrepreneurs. We do a lot of different things for them. Training programs, which we'll be discussing today with you, but we also have business resources, co-working space, networking events. We have opportunities that we connect investors and small businesses, and then also working with industry mentors. So there's a lot that we do. If you have any questions about there, feel free to reach out. We can discuss more of what we do. But for today, what we provide for municipalities like yourself is we do business incubators and accelerators. We work with municipalities to help with their support programs for entrepreneurs and small businesses. And if you don't have any, we can help create those. And then also we do education and training. And that's really where we're going to be focused today, is on that education and training area. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Libby to discuss with what our learning management system can do for you.
Hey everybody, my name is Libby. Before I get into my spiel, I just also want to mention that there is a Q&A that you guys are welcome to leave questions in throughout the webinar. If anything comes to mind, we'll answer those questions at the end of everything that we have to show you and say, just to make sure that we keep it nice and organized. So if you should be able to put it in there like a chat in the Q&A, and we'll look at those at the end. So as Ryan said, there's a lot that we can do for entrepreneurs in Idaho. This is just a scenario that may be very familiar to you guys. I'm sure somebody like Ellie Entrepreneur lives in each of your communities. Ellie Entrepreneur is somebody who wants to start a floral business. She can, that's what she went to school for. She's ready to kind of maybe stop being a mom, or not stop being a mom, but her kids are in school, so she's ready to do something more than just be a mom, and take her business to the next level. And she's started selling at your farmer's market, but she wants to get bigger, and she wants to do this business full time. And so there are a couple of pain points that she's realizing as she starts, and she thinks that this is going to become a real business for her. Some of those pain points are that she's never taken a business class. She hasn't taken accounting classes or finance classes either, so she's missing some of that education and training piece of it. She really just has an idea that she thinks could be a good business, but she doesn't know how to implement that business. Wrong way. She also wants to start selling outside of the farmer's market, whether that be an online store or a store in your town. But she doesn't know which would be that best option. She doesn't know how to start doing that. She doesn't know how she could get a building for herself or anything like that. She also doesn't have anybody to ask her business questions. Nobody in her family has started a business, so there's no relationships there. She doesn't have any friends that do it. So she has all these questions all the time, but she doesn't have anybody to ask. Somebody who could be a mentor to her. And finally, she certainly doesn't know what the city requirements and regulations are. She knows there's probably like permits that she needs to sell in the park, but she doesn't know what those are or if she's allowed to do that. So she has all of these questions and pain points, but she really wants to start the business. And we've noticed that there's often this gap where people have this great business idea, but they don't have the experience and they don't know how to do that in the areas they're living. And so, as Ryan was stating, that is where the Idaho Entrepreneur Center comes in. Our job is to bridge that gap for these individuals who want to start their business, or maybe who have a business and they just want to take it to the next level, increase the revenue, make it their full-time gig, whatever it is. And we think that there could be a great partnership between the Idaho Entrepreneur Center and municipalities, where we could work together to bridge this gap and get people on track to starting their business. Our flagship offering is an entrepreneur bootcamp. What you see here pictured is our in-person version of that, which we've been doing here at our Expert offices for a while now. And this is what you see is we have about 10 participants of people who have a business idea and want to start it. And they meet with us 2 to 3 evenings a week for 6 weeks. And that gets them through the course. We had a fun competition at the end of it where there was some prize money involved, and we instructed them through basically all the stages of starting a business. But we don't only have this as an in-person option, we also have a virtual entrepreneur bootcamp, which is what we're here to talk to you guys today about and share what that could look like for your municipality. So what we've done is taken all of our courses and instruction and the activities that we have with it, and we've put it into a learning management system, which is just an online version of the bootcamp, where anybody can sign in to the account and start doing that, start going through the course and taking this training and education and learning about it. And so how it would work is once they're in the online version, they have it for 6 months. So instead of it just being a 6-month course where they meet with us every time, they can go through it faster if they want to, if that works better for them, or they can have it up to 6 months and slow it down to their what works for them. Also, like it says here, that there are unlimited users. So there's no maximum or minimum to how many residents or people you could have in the system taking the course at a time, and they could start it at any time. There's no, it is structured, there is a path for them to follow, but it's at their own pace and when they want to do it, and that is really good for them. What you see here is that there are 6 standard modules that everybody will go through. I'll talk a little bit more about those on the next slide. But what's really cool is all of these modules work together to build an actionable playbook for them, where they are workshopping their business as they go through the course. So they're talking and making a plan for the next year of what they will do for their business to help it be successful. So the 6 modules that are standard and everybody would go through, whether that's in person or online, are right here. The first one is just starting with their business idea and validating that through a lot of market research, figuring out what obstacles are in the way or challenges of starting a business like this, and how can they overcome that. Also, what is their target audience and who do they need to be selling to, and how do they need to be selling this? Module 2 dives into their business and revenue models. Of who are their customers going to be, what are they going to sell to them, what's the value proposition, and how are they going to get money from that? How is it going to be effective and cost efficient for them, and either make a living for them or give them the cash that they want to go on vacation, whatever it is that their goal is for this business. Module 3 goes through their operations and funding. So that's just going through the processes of how am I going to make my product or service, and how am I going to deliver that to the customer? How am I going to get the equipment to make my my product? A lot of times, people who are starting a small business, there is going to be some upfront cost, either to get that equipment for them or just to get them started. Maybe they need a building, and so there are a bunch of different ways to get funding, and a lot of people don't know what all those ways are. And so this module covers most of those ways and gives them a good idea of what they can do to get the financing they need. Module 4 goes through accounting and budgets, which is where I've personally seen a lot of people learn the most. People have no idea how to run a business budget or accounting. They don't know what those best practices are or how it's different from their personal accounting and stuff like that. And so that one I've seen be very beneficial to a lot of our participants. Module 5 is sales and marketing, which is pretty explanatory of what's happened there. But what I forgot to mention is that as they're going through each of these modules, they are working on their business idea. So it's not just a general, these are all the business revenue models that you could do. These are all of them, and now let's find one that works really well for your business idea. And then let's roll with it. Now let's build it out. If this is what you're going to do, what does that look like for what your business idea is? And so they're making a marketing plan to sell those flowers. If we go back to Ellie Entrepreneur, sell those flowers to the customers that she wants to sell to. So it's very customizable for the business idea, and it's very actionable. Each module builds or plays into that playbook and builds up the playbook so that when they've finished the course, they have a very solid plan of what to do in the next coming months. And then the final module is leadership and management. And that just includes hiring employees and what to do next and how to be a good leader in your business, that sort of thing. And what's really cool is that we've seen this entrepreneur bootcamp be successful for many of our participants. This is Dr. Jaron Olson. He's a really good example. He was living up in, I believe it was Montana, and he was working at an optometry practice. That's what his education was in, optometry. And he decided that he needed to quit his job and sell his house and start his own optometry practice down in Idaho Falls. And so he had been preparing to launch this practice in the fall of 2024. And it was about the summer of 2024 when he came across the Idaho Entrepreneur Center and found out about our bootcamp. What's interesting is that Dr. Olson had some previous entrepreneurial experience when he was a high schooler. So it was just teaching swim lessons to people, to other high schoolers. And so he knew that he enjoyed being that entrepreneur. But he didn't necessarily have all the steps or know how to do it. And, there are areas that he was uncomfortable in. So Jaron was he was a sponge, and he was just trying to soak in any knowledge and education and training he could before he started his practice. He was working with the SBDC and SCORE and networking groups. And so when he came across our center, he was like, I want to get involved with what they have and learn everything they have to. And so he joined the Entrepreneur Bootcamp. And after he went through the course, he claimed that he was able to gain some very valuable insights for him, and that he was specifically able to refine his business strategy and make it very clear. And also that he was able to connect with key experts in the area. And we're happy to report that he had his grand opening on January 14th in 2025. He's doing well. His practice Refrained Eye is up and running in Idaho Falls, and Scott even goes there to do his eye appointments now. So that's really cool and exciting. Another really good example is Naomi. She had been working as a massage therapist for 20 years off and on, and being a mom. And when she came across the Idaho Entrepreneur Center, she learned or decided that she had this business idea that she'd been working on, and that she wanted to actually turn it into a business. The idea is that she would take her, do corporate massages where she would go into a company and provide massages that day for all of their employees. They'd come in for a 15-minute segment and then go about their day refreshed and relaxed and ready to get back to work. And so she was excited to launch this venture and connect with like-minded entrepreneurs. Some things that she learned after taking the Entrepreneur Bootcamp was that she had developed her minimal viable product. She was able to take it to market and start selling to these companies rather than just mulling it over, right? So she's been working with a couple companies. She also conducted a lot of market research to figure out which companies to target, what was her target audience, what areas would this work best in, and she built out her marketing plan. She's got a website now. She's active on social media. And it's fun to see where she's going with this business idea. One final example is Wendy Heater. She had developed an online course to help students find and apply for scholarships. She had done this for her 5 kids, and she sent herself back to school, and all of them graduated from college debt-free. And so she just wanted to be able to share this experience and this knowledge with other students and people who are going through college. And she wanted to turn it into a business idea. Or a business, how could she make this her full-time gig? And so when she joined the Entrepreneur Bootcamp, she was hoping to understand the business operations better. She really hadn't ran a business before. She wanted to improve her profitability, to make some more money off of it, and also to start implementing marketing strategies, which she was able to do all of those and more. She actually found out that when they got to the accounting and budgets module, that her financials were a mess. She didn't really know the best practices for business, and they were kind of all over the place. So she needed to reorganize them and get that back on track, so that it was very business minded and not run into any problems there. She also explored the idea of business to business sales and reoccurring revenue, where instead of just selling to one person at a time to get them debt-free college, she could sell to an entire high school, and then they could provide that course to all of their students. And so every student that went through that high school could then eventually graduate debt-free. And that would also just provide her with reoccurring revenue, because it would be a good big contract right at the beginning, and it could be reoccurring every year. And she also has seen an increase in her revenue by implementing these marketing strategies that she workshopped in the Entrepreneur Bootcamp. So these are just 3 really great examples of people who have come through our bootcamp. And what's really cool is that they're staying here in Idaho. They're not students with this great idea who just came to Idaho for college and then are going to take their business idea out into the world and to their hometown or to where it works best. These are people who live in Idaho and want to stay in Idaho and raise their families here. And so they're dedicated to having this business here. Before I hand you off to Scott, he's going to show you more of what what the virtual bootcamp looks like for you. I talked about the 6 standard modules that everybody would go through, but we also want to be able to provide a custom module that's specific for your municipality that covers this information here on the right. So what needs to happen to get registered as a business? What licensing and permits do I need? Where can I build a building for my business? So we want this module to be a wealth of information on all of these topics, kind of like a checklist of you need to go get registered, you need to get these permits, but not just a checklist. We want to be able to provide the contacts for all of these areas. So who is your health inspector in the area, and what's his name, what's his email, what's his phone number, how do I get in contact with them? And so that it just eliminates a lot of that back and forth. Oh, I need to do this. Who do I go talk to? All of that information can be in one location for them. And it makes it really easy for you. If somebody comes in and says, I need to start a business, what do I need to do? Who do I need to talk to? You can just say, go to this course, and there's a module that will tell you everything, and we'll keep that up to date. So the last couple of things are just user registration, and then how will you guys use the software? And we've tried to make it as easy as possible, where there really isn't a lot that you guys have to do. There'd be some work in the beginning where we build this custom module together, just because we don't know who your health inspectors are right now. So obviously we have to work with you to build that out a little bit. But once we've built that out and you guys have an account in the virtual bootcamp, then you guys can add as many users as you want. Anytime anybody comes in your door, you just make them a user, and making them a user is super easy. It's just putting in their contact information. And then an account is created for them, and they can take it from there. And we will manage all of the software for you, keep it up to date. We'll make sure there's no bugs or anything like that, and all the links work. And so it's really hands off for you. I am going to turn the time over to Scott now to show you what that looks like. He'll start out with showing you what the user registration process looks like. And then he'll take you into some of the modules and kind of what that information and stuff looks like for you.
Great. Thanks, Libby. Okay, let me make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Okay, is that looking good? All right. Okay, so here is just a sample website like Libby was just referring to. I put up a fake logo, but the user would come here. They'd be able to see a picture of your downtown or some noticeable feature from your city. So they know they're in the right place, that it's part of the city in collaboration with the Idaho Entrepreneur Center. I'm already logged in, but they could easily log in. And then to keep it very simple, they can click here. If they forgot their password, you wouldn't have to worry about helping them with their passwords or troubleshooting any of that. We'll manage that piece. And to add a new person, we wanted to make it as easy as possible. So anyone within the municipality that is authorized to do that would have a password that they could enter in their password. And then, oh, if I can remember the password, they would be able to log in, and then a simple form would be all that is needed, just their full name, their email, and their phone number, and submit. Then we will handle everything after that, the customer service and everything. The nice thing about this course is it really is something that they can do at their own pace and do it to help benefit their business. We're trying to get them from their idea to a successful business in the area. So let's go ahead and jump over to the course itself. When they get there, the main course that we're going to be talking about today is this Idaho Entrepreneur Boot Camp. So they will have access to that. When they're on there, just a quick overview, Libby did a great job going through the 6 modules. We originally built it as a 6-week course, but now that we've taken it online, they'll be able to do it at their own leisure, go through those different modules that they have in there, and really try to get the same experience that they had. When we do our in-person courses, we try to keep it very interactive, and it's nice that you have the camaraderie that happens there with the cohort of the other students. You can bounce ideas off of the other people, and so we try to take all of those features and put them into online version as well, because we know that there's a lot of people in rural areas that it might not be feasible to have a concurrent course where everyone's doing it at the same time, or maybe they're a stay-at-home mom, or they're working 2 jobs, or whatever their individual case is. We want to be flexible to help them be able to get the information at the pace that they need. But in order to do that, we've tried to make sure we still have the same interactive features and activities that they had before. So as we scroll down, you'll see the lessons that we have throughout the course, fairly simple. They can jump back and forth depending on which ones they want to do. It's not like, a high school course where it's you have to pass this much to do it, because this is really for them to understand the materials, and some of these might not be applicable and some might be more applicable to them. So they'll be able to go back and forth throughout the course. I personally am a very visual and audio learner. I have a hard time reading text. So when we were developing this, we tried to make sure that everything has both the video in there, so they can just watch the video, listen to the video, or they can read through the text. We also wanted to introduce them to who we are, what skills we have, the people who prepared and are teaching this course, so they can know what resources might be available in the future and what background we have. So we introduced ourselves, and then to keep it interactive, we asked them, who are they? Why are they doing this? What information can they help us know about them so they can get the most out of this experience? So we asked them right off the bat to introduce themselves. Again, each of the modules, they can go through, figure out which ones are more applicable to them at the pace that they want to. But the thing that I think is really kind of kept coming back to us as we were developing this course is you kind of revisit a lot of the areas over and over again. So we've modified something called the snowflake method with permission from Randy Ingermanson, where you've probably folded pieces of paper and cut out, the circles and squares and things, and then unfold it, and it becomes a really nice snowflake, right? Or you can draw a snowflake, and when you do that, it's each step in the process is really easy. You see these green lines right here, you add them, then you start adding a little bit more details of these other green lines, and you keep going throughout until eventually you have a nice full developed snowflake. But each step is very simple, and you keep repeating these steps. And that's one of the main goals that we tried to do with this entrepreneur boot camp, is take all of those steps down into individual bite-sized lessons that they can work on throughout the course and by the end have a nice finished snowflake. So we illustrate here all of the steps that they're going over, but again, they don't have to do this all right now. They'll do it throughout the course as they get into it. We really try to make it so it's something that they will be able to use once they're done with this. So we've designed a playbook. Libby mentioned this a few times, but the playbook is really where they will be able to answer the questions specific to their business, apply the knowledge that they're learning in the boot camp into their business, and then be ready to go afterwards. So let me show you a little bit of what that looks like. As they click into each one of the sections, for example, the first one is the entrepreneur mindset and your why behind why you want to be an entrepreneur, and a little bit into your minimum viable product. But as they go through these questions, they really start to fully fledge out their business and paint that bigger snowflake picture, but it's one step at a time again. So let's go back to the course itself. We try to keep those activities in there that we were doing in the real live version of the course. So one of the activities that we did is the pitch it or ditch it. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Shark Tank, fairly common now. It's been going on for a while. I love it. But we built a game called Pitch It or Ditch It, where they do basically that. They have to pitch their idea in just a few seconds, and it's not their current business idea. We want to see their creative juices, get them flowing. So we challenge them with a few other options. So we, for example, right here, we say first pick a problem, and we'll give them a few down below. Then they brainstorm the solutions, and then they'll pitch it back to us. So they can watch the videos if they're a visual learner like me, or they can come down, read through the ideas. So for example, your pets are bored at home. And so how could you solve that problem, right? They can brainstorm about it, and we'll teach them a little bit about how to brainstorm it. They can watch the video of how to do that and then read through it. Like any idea in the brainstorming idea phase is a good idea. We want to get all of the ideas out there. Yes, eventually we might throw it out, but right now we want to just get everything, because it'll spark some other ideas that'll come up, and we'll be able to quickly get to good solutions by just looking at all of them. So then once they brainstorm their idea, we talk about how to pitch the idea. Especially when you're a new entrepreneur, you might not have very much time. There's often the saying of the elevator pitch. You might be in the elevator with the investor or with the executive that you need to get your idea across to, and you only have that much time while you're in the elevator to make that impression and help them understand why they should go with your solution. So they can write it out their short pitch, or our software allows them to upload a video if that's what they prefer. So whichever method works best for them. Then once we get the ice broken, we have a lot of other things in the course. We try to have it be fun, and engaging. So we add clips from popular videos, for example, Bug's Life from several years ago. The ant Flick, he was always inventing things. You can see right here, he took a blade of grass and a dew from a flower and put it in there to make a telescope to help the queen ant be able to oversee the other ants a lot better. And he was just always making these inventions. And it's kind of the mindset that you have as an entrepreneur of what are the problems? How can we solve them? How can we make them better or improve things? And that's how you can find a good market fit, is by finding solutions for things. And so we really want to help them understand what it takes to be an entrepreneur. Why do they want to be an entrepreneur? Are they ready for the commitment that it takes? There's a lot of effort that goes into it. And is that really what they want to do? And how do they want to do that? Why do they want to do that? And we go through this whole initial section. So once we're through that, we dive into business models. When I was starting a business a few years ago, I met with one of my mentors, and I had already filled out the business model canvas. Many of you have probably seen this before, but it's another way we can use the snowflake method to help them get the little pieces first, and then they can fill it out as they go deeper levels, but bite-sized chunks still. When I had filled out this business model canvas and met with my mentor, I was able to, within just a few minutes, show him what my business idea was, and he was able to understand it very quickly, knew exactly what was going on, and then start to give me some thoughts and advice and feedback based on just having this right there, because he knew where my brain was already. So we really want them to be able to concisely say what's happening, what they need to do, and where they're going to go next. And this is one of the ways that we help with that. Libby mentioned finding funding was one of the other things. Doing the market research is key, making sure we understand the customer. Another module that's I wanted to highlight was just like customer service. So once you have customers, how do you keep them? How do you make sure that they're going to keep coming back, they're satisfied with your product, and what pain points do they have with your product that you can help solve? Each of the modules that we have, we tried to make sure that they were very interactive, engaging. They have text that's popping up. They can go through the different things as they want to, at the speed they want. And then it's also available on, whether they're on their phone or on their desktop computer or laptop. So very flexible whenever they want. It'll just keep track of the progress that they've made as they go throughout. So let's see. I think another one that I wanted to hit on was the logistics. I worked for a company over in Idaho Falls where we would manufacture our products in China, and then we would ship them to the United States. So logistics was very important to us. Trying to get enough product and not too much product to the right place at the right time was very important, especially during COVID. It was tricky with a lot of the ports being shut down due to, or there was a bottleneck at the ports, right? Because there was a lot of people shipping and there wasn't as many people allowed to go to work and things. So we had to make the decision and do the calculations. Was it beneficial for us to fly the products over, which is very expensive because they weigh a lot? And was it more beneficial for us to do that or wait and then potentially lose sales because we didn't have the inventory? So considering all of these things and factors was very helpful for us during that time as we made these decisions. So we want to get these concepts in their minds, so as they start thinking about their business, they have a plan. They know the principles of what needs to happen and how they're going to do that. So the last section down here, and granted, we don't have this built out for each one of your cities yet, but one thing that we would be doing, like Libby mentioned, is building out a whole section just for your city specifically. And this is really helpful because then when someone comes into City Hall or another facility in the city and asks, hey, where do I get started? Instead of having to take a lot of time trying to figure out where everything is or guide them to something else, we can really help them get all of the information in one place. They're learning about all the steps, and then they're learning about specifically how to apply it for your city or municipality. So where do they need to go to get the licenses? Are there any specific things? They can walk through the questionnaire and really try to figure out what is specific for their business and how they need to get started. So I think that's everything I had with the course. But again, if we have any questions at the end, we'll be able to go over that. And with that, I'll turn the time over to Ryan.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott. So just kind of in conclusion, we just wanted to talk a little bit about like what's in it for you, right? We've got these great courses. We know that we help entrepreneurs. We've seen so many success stories. One of our last boot camps that we had, in-person boot camps, we had 12 individuals, and out of that 10 businesses were started out of that. And it's so great to see all these great businesses starting in here in Idaho. And that's really what we want to focus on, is how can we help businesses stay here and grow inside of Idaho, and specifically your municipality. So like Scott and Libby mentioned, it's going to save you time and resources. This is a way that you can have a place that you can send people very quickly, that they don't have to be you don't have to be answering their questions. You'll be able to quickly get them on the right path. We totally feel that this will strengthen your local economy. What city from the size of Boise to the smallest little cities wouldn't love to have these, what we call Main Street businesses starting and having these resources? So not do they start and fail, but that they start and succeed. And we feel that we can be a big part of that. We want to keep your residences and businesses local. We've seen that. We were at a tech conference yesterday, and that's kind of just an overall theme in the whole state of Idaho is that, why not Idaho? Why shouldn't our residents be staying here when they create a business and growing it from whether it's a small Main Street into a much larger corporation? Why not Idaho? We feel it really empowers individuals. As they go through this course, we found that there's a lot of people with a lot of great ideas, but they're really just scared. They think that it's above them that they can create a successful business. But going through our course, we've really focused on what we can do to empower them. So when they leave, they feel that they have all the knowledge and the capabilities so they can be successful. And obviously, as there's more businesses created, how great is it that someone can now provide for themselves that wasn't doing it before, and now that they can create jobs and increase that revenue and tax base. So now I want we actually have quite a few different products out there. Be sure to visit our website at idahoecenter.org. But I wanted to go over just a few questions that I've got here that have popped up through our training. I'll go through these really quickly. Is the training only for new companies? It's a great question, and no, we've found that there's small businesses that they maybe have 1, 2, 3 individuals, but they just need to get to that next level to grow that to maybe now supplying 10 jobs. So absolutely, they may not be focused on the big idea, but there is a lot inside what we teach that will be great for any small businesses. Do you provide mentors and resources? And that's a great question. One of the things that we would do is we work with your local municipality, and what we found is there's a lot of individuals who are more than willing to work with new businesses. So what we want to do is working with you is we would find those mentors that are willing to give a couple hours a month and be able to work with these new businesses. And we found that that's a great way to get connected with people, the network inside of your area as we work with mentors that are located inside of your municipality. A question, is the custom module tailored for us? Yes, that module we will actually, when you purchase from us, we will actually sit down, takes about a month, and we'll go through and get all that information that is needed for that tailored module specifically for your city. I had a question, do you offer in-person options? Absolutely. We're located currently in Southeast Idaho, basically between Pocatello and up to St. Anthony and Driggs, and all of our trainers are in that area. So anywhere inside of that area, absolutely, we can do in-person options. We are looking to expand out, and as there's needs grow, we have individuals that are willing to travel and to work in that. So, as we look to go continue across, Twin Falls and American Falls, looking to go south all the way down into Preston. So anywhere in between, we'd love to talk with you and see if there are some options there. What is the cost? Great question. Currently, it's a $10K per year, so $10,000 per year, which gives you unlimited access for those in your municipality. We handle everything. They get access for 6 months, and then we just look to renew that every year after that. There's a question: can you charge? You can charge if you want to try to recoup some of those costs, but what we found is that the benefits are much greater than that $10K cost. It really creates this great atmosphere inside of your community to know that your individuals can come to you as a city, and you've got this great resource that's free. Something that we charge $800 an individual for in-person boot camp, and we have people lined up to do that. So what a great way that you can show the investment in your users by giving it to them free. What other products? If you are interested in some of the other things, I'd love to talk to you after. We do everything from, hosting networking nights to doing research projects to doing additional types of investor relationships. So we do a lot there, too much to talk about that. But if you're interested in some of those additional ones, when we reach out to you after, just let us know and we can talk about those. And then the last question I've got here is, do they see all of the courses? No, so when they come into your specific course, you did see all of our different courses that we offer. So they won't see all those courses. They will just see the courses that you have. So it's very easy for them to get into there. Do know that there are other options. You know, if there's some additional courses that you'd like to bring in, we can definitely talk about that. But for what we wanted to talk about today, they would just see this specific boot camp that is specific to your city. So I appreciate your time. You know, we're grateful that all of you were able to join with us. If there's any other Q&A, I'll give about 30 seconds. If none other questions pop up, just go to the Q&A box and type any other additional questions there. We'll stay on for the next until no one's left on, but we appreciate your time. We'll be reaching out to each one of you and see if there's ways that we can help you. And you know, like we said, we're excited to help Idaho. We're excited to help all the communities that are here and help, you know, grow Idaho. And I love the idea. Why not Idaho? So thanks again, and we'll talk to you later.